Welcome to Thursday of Passion Week. We're reading from chapter 22 of Luke, verses 14 to 27. And when the hour was come, he sat down, and the 12 apostles with him. And he said unto them, with desire, I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. Listen to these key words, before I suffer. For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of God. I will not any more. And he took the cup and gave thanks and said, take this and divide it among yourselves. For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God shall come. And he took bread and gave thanks and brake it and gave unto them, saying, this is my body, which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me. Likewise also the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you. But behold, the hand of him that betrayeth me is with me on the table. And truly the Son of Man goeth, as it was determined, but woe unto that man by whom he is betrayed. And they began to inquire among themselves which of them it was that should do this thing. And there was also a strife among them, which of them should be accounted the greatest. Now I believe that there's a break right here, and the story is taken up in John chapter 13, 4 through 17, where John provides some information that we don't find in Luke. He riseth from supper while they are arguing about which of them should be accounted greatest. He riseth from supper and laid aside his garments and took a towel and girded himself. After that he poureth water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel wherewith he was girded. Then cometh he to Simon Peter, and Peter saith unto him, Lord, dost thou wash my feet? Jesus answered and said unto him, what I do thou knowest not now, but thou shalt know hereafter. Peter saith unto him, thou shalt never wash my feet. Jesus answered him, if I wash thee not, thou hast no part with me. Simon Peter saith unto him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Jesus saith to him, he that is washed needeth not save to wash his feet, but is clean every whit, and you are clean, but not all. For he knew who should betray him. Therefore said he, you are not all clean. So after he had washed their feet, and had taken his garments, and was set down again, he said unto them, know ye what I have done to you? Ye call me Master and Lord, and ye say, well, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him. If you know these things, happy are ye if you do them. And then we go back to Luke's accounting in Luke chapter 22. And he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and they that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors. But you shall not be so. But he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he that is chief as he that doth serve. For whether is greater, he that sitteth at meat, or he that serveth? Is not he that sitteth at meat? But I am among you as he that serveth. And so this is something Jesus taught them the Thursday before he was betrayed. Several years ago, after traveling to Ethiopia, the Lord began to move on my spirit about this story, about this passage and this event. And he gave me this writing about the servant. I could never forget the shame I felt when I discovered it was Jesus who had washed my feet. We were all arguing about who was the greatest among us, vigorously defending our right to the best positions in the coming kingdom. When someone came sliding along the floor to wash my feet, I never gave it a second thought, assuming it was the household servant. It was Peter who realized it first and drew our attention to him in his usual emotional outburst, while we were all occupied with pride and arrogance, fussing and fighting about place and position. Jesus, the Master, was on the floor washing our feet. How could we have been so stupid and insensitive? He had just told us that he was about to be betrayed by one of us, that he would suffer and his blood would be shed. But instead of thinking of him in his time of greatest need, we thought only of ourselves and our own selfish desires. When he was through and had sat back down at the table, he told us that we should wash each other's feet. He said that he had given us an example so that we would do as he had done to us, and that we would be happy if we did. After he left, and then I received his Spirit, I wanted to be more like him. I began to wash feet. Whenever I had the opportunity, I would wash someone's feet. At first, my friends made fun of me. They suspected my motives. But as I continued, most of them learned to accept me, and many came to expect it. They took for granted that I would wash their feet. I did. Some people felt that I owed it to them. I felt that I owed it to Jesus. It was not always easy to wash feet. I was accustomed to looking at people eye to eye, not eye to toe. I had to overcome the bad feelings I felt when washing the feet of someone who did not appreciate what I was doing. Sometime I would get a kind word, but most often I would not. I had trouble with the feet of those who treated me like a servant until I accepted the fact that I was a servant. It became a way of life for me. My hands became soft and always seemed to be clean. It seemed to me that my heart stayed soft and clean also. I discovered that it's hard to argue on your knees. It's also more difficult to be proud. I thought I had finally lost all my pride and was truly a servant and could sincerely wash anyone's feet. But then I came to some feet that were so dirty and so stained that I was repulsed. I'd washed dirty feet before, but these seemed virtually caked with rust. They looked as though they had walked around the world bare. The filth of centuries seemed to cling to them. These were obviously the feet of one much lower than I. Pride that I didn't know I had rose up within me. Feelings that I thought were long dead let me know they were alive and well. I was shocked at my own reaction to these filthy feet. Old familiar feelings stirred in me and jogged my memory. I had a sense of déjà vu. I was back in the old room, sitting at the table. I was vigorously defending my right to the best and highest position. I was arguing with the others about who was the greatest. And then I discovered Jesus had washed my feet as I jostled for position. All my shame came flooding back. Red-faced and teary-eyed, I knelt and touched the dirty feet. Remembering that Jesus, my master, had washed my feet while I was consumed with pride and arrogance, I began to scrape at the substance that was caked on these feet. Soon the water in the basin was stained a dirty, rusty brown. Slowly the true color of the feet began to emerge. One stubborn spot would not come clean. I lifted the foot from the brackish water. I wiped the tears from my eyes with the back of my hand so I could better see. I rubbed the spot on the foot. I splashed water over it. Then, more gently, I touched it. A scar. I reached for the other foot. A matching scar. Gasping, I looked up into the face of Jesus. He was smiling. He said, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in a few things. I'll make you ruler over many. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord." I want to follow in his steps. And on this Thursday of Passion Week, I want to remember the lesson that he taught, that he came as a servant. And I will be content if I can be a servant to him and to others.